Today at Hope Harbor Zoo, we build for the iconic red panda. This animal is the first one that we're actually doing a speed build for on our new Marco Polo trail. Without further ado, welcome everyone to Hope Harbor Zoo. So the red panda, specifically the Chinese red panda, I really want to touch on that today. So welcome everyone, hope you guys are all having the most wonderful, wonderful days. My name is Leaf and it's so great to join you guys as you guys watch this video. So today we are building for the Chinese red panda. The Chinese red panda is a subspecies of the red panda itself that is actually deferred, or at least differentiated, by a little bit more darker, more intense coloration on its fur than the subsequent Himalayan red panda. The Himalayan red pandas are a lot more muted in their colors. They kind of look like they have a little bit of gray hairs going on. It's very interesting stuff once you actually start to look into them. The local zoo that I attend, I guess, Roger Williams Park Zoo, we have Chinese red pandas, and they are just the cutest damn things around, which is kind of why I wanted to get Chinese red pandas in Hope Harbor Zoo, because Hope Harbor Zoo is, of course, my ZSU zoo, so it's kind of, you know, it's a lot more of a choose-your-own kind of story kind of thing. So it's just very fun because of that. But one of the things I really wanted to take into account is paying a little bit of an homage to local zoos around here in Rhode Island, in New England, and stuff like that. Specifically for this section, we do have the Marco Polo Trail, which is ripped directly out of Roger Williams Park Zoo. So it essentially kind of goes over the story of Marco Polo. Too many iconic people going on over here. Too many. But essentially, this kind of covers Italy to China, which is where the Silk Road kind of takes you. So essentially it's going to be like a Chinese area, a Himalayan area, and even a little bit of a European area. I actually only have a few European birds that I already built the enclosures for. You guys can check them out in like my press room and stuff like that. But that's kind of the vibe that I wanted to go throughout here. And especially seeing as my local zoo doesn't really have any European animals, that's one of the things I wanted to bring in here as well. And if it's just birds, then so be it. Just as long as we actually build up that story, even just doing storytelling by animals, by exhibitry, by kind of like guiding you down a path, I feel like that'd be super important to have. Now, this is probably one of my favorite red panda habitats I've ever done. I have done countless of them all throughout time, but this one in particular is just very cool because we're working with so many different elevations, and I don't know, I just really do love it because of that. Now, keep in mind, I really did want to get Muntjac from the latest event in ZSU. Now, in case if you guys are unaware, ZSU oftentimes does host events where you're able to kind of create signage, education, exhibitry, yada, 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 for all these different animals that you're able to get. In particular, for this event, which was for hoofstock, Artiodactyla, all that kind of stuff, I was going for like Muntjac, peccaries, tapir, but I only got peccaries, which is totally fine. Those are grown in the Andean area. But I guess later down the line, I should be able to get Muntjacs. That's a fun thing with ZSU. It never really goes as you expect it to go. So it's just a very fun process altogether. I mean, we've had Hope Harbor Zoo for at least a year or change. I really don't know. But it's been such a really wonderful kind of adventure going through this zoo, kind of building it up from the initial start. And if any of you are watching this series from the start, I just know that I really appreciate you guys even stopping by, even like nowadays. It's so crazy. But one of the things I did want to include over here were a few custom climbing frames, because that's always super important when you are building for arboreal animals, kind of like red pandas or binturongs or anything of that sorts. So that's what we have in here. We do a few like little bridges. I'm not sure if they use all of these. I'll completely admit, a lot of the stuff in Hope Harbor Zoo is very much for show. It's not really functional. But if you are looking for full functionality, just know that the pieces I'm using over here, which are the Indonesian set pieces, some of them aren't climbable, which is a little bit of a shame. But if you do want something kind of like this, just do the same thing, but with the South American pieces or the base game pieces, because all of those are completely climbable. and you could see your little critters kind of climbing all over that stuff. It's super adorable. But again, I care about looks in Hope Harbor Zoo. If I want something that looks good, I don't care too much if it's functional or not. I just want like a good thing for screenshots. And that's really my 2 cents when it comes to like this whole exhibit. But regardless, you can see I'm working on this big main structure over here. I had a couple of cross joints right in there to give it a little bit more support because it is a little bit taller. Kind of slightly based off of the Roger Williams one. It's just a wooden climbing frame. It really has no theming at all. And that's totally fine. A lot of the times I do see people kind of like gushing over theming sometimes. But honestly, I really find pleasure in doing something that's a little bit less themed. Something that is a little bit more quiet, a little bit more muted. I feel like it gives a lot more of a spotlight to the stuff that is a lot more hyper themed. Like say for example, in Hope Harbor, we have like the polar bear area. I believe we called that Polar Passageway. That whole area is so hyper themed, and it's like really the crown jewel of Hope Harbor right now. And I want the Himalaya area to be a little bit themed, but I really want to wheel it back on that. I really want to like just have it be subtle theming, maybe do a lot more through signage, do a lot more with like the storytelling of like, you know, the natural terrain and stuff like that. Just all that stuff. Make it very hilly, make it very mountainous, make it feel like you're going on this trek through kind of like the Himalayas, making sure that you're able to pass through there to get through the Silk Road, all that stuff. And in the end you end up at like, you know, the Chinese, like a lot more of a temperate Chinese area. I feel like that'd be super fun. But all in all, I feel like however you build is exactly as you should be building. If you want to change it up, you have the same pieces that any other content creator uses, or maybe not if you're not using mods, but still my point stands regardless. You are able to build whatever you want to build because we're all playing the same game. I always feel like that's always so important to say. Whenever I see people on Reddit and saying like, oh man, I wish I could build like you. It's the same pieces, guys. Like, you can feel free to copy me. I don't even care. Just as long as you guys are still having fun with this silly zoo game is more than enough for me. I always love to see people, even just now coming into Planet Zoo, and just having fun with it. Even like some of my friends who recently got the game have been enjoying it, and it's just really, really cool to see that. Now, moving on our way throughout here, I am using a whole lot of foliage. I probably haven't talked about this build in a while, but I'm using a lot more of that common foliage, using a lot more of that buffalo grass from the Grasslands pack. It's so iconic. And I actually use some of the ferns from the tropical pack. They make for really, really decent ground cover. So I kind of rotate those on themselves and kind of just put it everywhere. Really do love that stuff. And I also put down some like faux rocks in there and a little bit more drin grass to help it feel a little bit more wild, a little bit more overgrown. This area I feel like would be kind of old. Maybe it would be kind of like one of the first ones when Hope Harbor just opened. I know a lot of people in ZSU tend to give a lot of flack when it comes to like the lore of your zoo, but I feel like Hope Harbor is too big at this point to really say like, oh man, this is our latest section in Hope Harbor. I don't know, it's kind of weird. Let me know what you guys have to say. How do you guys feel about the development of ZSU lore for your own zoos in the comments? Regardless, I hope you guys enjoy these cinematics. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys are enjoying the latest content for Hope Harbor that I've been putting out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I can't wait to see you all in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye.